Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of OMG Sports. You already know who's on the mic. It's your boy, Jonathan Baker. Yes, sir. And those on the mic with me is the best owner in the game, the one and only T. What's going on, man?
Man, good to see you.
Oh, man, I'm so glad to be back, man.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, man.
Hopefully, after that end quarter, we can be,
Oh, yeah.
do a little more work.
Yeah. It's I got a little bit more free time now. Yeah, end of the quarter. So yeah, that was a that was a lot of work doing that. So yeah, that's what took up a lot of my plate there and everything else. But got the end of the quarter. End of the quarter numbers were good at work, so good to go from there. Yeah,
That's good though. All right, man. So, are we gonna jump into the inevitable? You ready?
yeah. The whole Dallas Cowboys head coaching shirt.
It's a fiasco, man. I've been in so many chats. It's funny that even people that are not Cowboys fans know the problem.
Yeah. Now Mike Fisher put out a report early this morning. I purposely didn't send it to you or tell you the car over here because I wanted it on the show. But basically, what he was saying was Jerry. It sounds like from what he was told, Jerry wants Dion, and Stephen Jones the one shutting all of that down, and he's the one pushing for the Brian Schottenheimer hire.
Okay, because this morning when I woke up, I saw something across the phone. I was like, I thought the Dion thing was dead, and it's like it's been revitalized, and that's the only piece I saw on that. It was like, okay, what happened to this? Supposedly Schottenheimer was the front runner. Now I'm seeing Dion again.
Well, I think Schottenheimer said ultimately going to be the guy, but it's from what he was reporting. This is all Stephen Jones. The Brian Schottenheimer deal, it's all him.
Yeah, because of course Jerry wants Dion.
Yeah, Jerry wants to splash higher.
Yeah, and plus you have to look at the hype. It's a business move. You see what I'm saying? Me personally, I always felt like, and this is just me, I didn't think, and I was wrong, obviously, but Dion, I didn't see him wanting to be bothered with rich, spoiled men. Where's the motivation? You see what I'm saying?
But I think his relationship with Jerry and it being the Cowboys, that's probably like the one job that will probably seriously.
That's the exception that he would take, huh?
Yeah.
Because I remember him saying a long time ago, why would I want to coach rich, spoiled ass men? I ain't got time to be babysitting.
It's much harder for me to control
them. Yeah. Because there's no incentive. Think about it. When you're coming out of college, there's incentive there. You know what I'm saying? I always use that saying you said about sleeping in satin sheets.
Oh, yeah.
They're already at that level. You know what I'm saying? If they play good or bad, they still get the same check. But we know that on the Jerry Jones side of it, that's a business move.
100%. It's no, because he understands. If that's true, he understands. I've got to sell something to this fan base.
Yeah, you do.
If he hired, for me, if he hired Dion and it didn't work out, I can at least look at just it. From that standpoint, I'm like, at least you tried. Yeah. I get it. It didn't work out.
You're giving the franchise a spark. Everything that I'm reading from every fan of 20 years plus is 25, 30 years plus is if you hire Schottenheimer, I'm pretty much done.
He also reported that Kellen Moore interview was like less than 2 hours. So a few people who understand how coaching interviews work, they said that Kellen Moore did the interview. They asked him, they might have made him an offer, and he told them no. And that's why the Schottenheimer started picking up a lot of heat.
Because if you think about it, between the two, we would both choose Kellen Moore.
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel like the Leslie Frazier was a Rooney Rule thing.
That was all him. He was all a Rooney Rule.
Yeah,
and
Saleh.
Yeah, Robert Saleh, I think that was a legit interview. The Leslie Frazier was 100% Rooney Rule. That was Rooney Rule.
Let's get that out the way.
Now, I tell people, I said, why do you think they're interviewing guys like Leslie Frazier and Anthony Lynn and Brian Schottenheimer, guys that nobody else is talking to? Because they're cheap.
Yeah,
they're cheap. And I said this from day one. I said Jerry doesn't pay coaches.
What was McCarthy on? Was it $5 million a year?
McCarthy was like a $5.5 million a year. And word I've read from numerous articles was he wanted $8 million a year. He wanted up to $8 million a year. Right. And basically the offer he got was like a 2 to 3 year offer, and it was like incentive laden. And then they tried to push Jason Witten down his throat. And that's when McCarthy's like, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I heard also that Ben Johnson 13 million.
Yeah, but that's I kept telling myself, dude, that's the market for coaches now. If you want a legit coach, you're going to be paying $10+ million a year. Yeah. I'm like Mike Tomlin's making like $12 million a year. Andy Reid's making $20 million a year. I mean, like a lot of Kyle Shanahan's making like $13-14 million a year. I'm like, if you want a top tier coach, you're paying over $10 million a year.
So you're saying the bottom line, like, pretty much default is 10 million.
Yes, you get. I'm like, I typically like look at Jerry's last couple of coach hires. Mike McCarthy was the second lowest paid coach in the league. Jason Garrett before that was like the second lowest paid coach in the league. Like Jerry does not pay coaches. He never has.
And you wonder why a lot of those coaches don't want to come here. Plus, the word has been out about how it works. If you don't think that head coaches don't talk, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I sent you a tweet I put out, and I said, Jerry Jones' head coaching criteria. Number one, he has to be cheap because Jerry doesn't pay coaches. Number two, it has to be somebody that he can control. And number three, that has to be familiar with it. He has to be familiar with them.
With how the system works.
And everything else. And I said, Brian Schottenheimer checks all three boxes.
And that's why he usually hires within the organization.
100%.
Yeah, Jason Garrett, okay, now Garrett's out, let's interview Kellen Moore, or now Schottenheimer.
Because Brian Schottenheimer, he's never been a head coach before. He's not going to interview for head coach for any other team. So if you offer him the job, you think he's going to turn it down? No.
And I went on a particular website. I'm not going to give out the name. And they went down his discography. Disaster.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not hating. I'm just going with, they broke down every stop he's made. And those offenses got progressively worse.
Yes.
Progressively
in
worse.
Seattle, in New York, here in Dallas.
I mean, he's not like his father.
I'm gonna say this though. The fan base, the Cowboys fan base, they're not happy
at all.
They're not happy. If you hire Brian Schottenheimer, Jerry Jones is one of the best salesmen I have ever seen in my entire life. Even he can't sell this one. Yeah. If you hire Brian Schottenheimer and you don't do anything in free agency, like you don't sign, like you don't do anything in free agency, and you have another bad year, kiss this fan base goodbye. They're done. They're done. You would have lost this fan base.
What if he was to sign Kellen Moore?
Still not inspiring enough to me, because this fan base is like, we've already been through the Kellen Moore experience before. We're not.
What do you think the fan base would like to see?
They want somebody like a Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, like.
Yeah, because I heard someone say, "Damn, we didn't even."
You didn't even interview Aaron Glenn. Ben Johnson, I can understand. It's only because Jerry doesn't pay coaches. Jerry's going like, why am I going to waste my time interviewing a coach when I'm not going to be willing to spend $10 million a year on a coach?
But Aaron Glenn's still going to want to win 10.
So Aaron Glenn's going to want at least 8.5 on the low end.
Yeah, I would say 9.
Yeah, but like to me, I even said it too. The fact that you didn't even bring in Aaron Glenn for an interview, and he's a former Cowboy, that's malpractice. Yeah, that's malpractice.
That is crazy.
That's malpractice. But part of it too is, I think another reason why they didn't bring Aaron Glenn in, because Aaron Glenn is one of the coaches, like, you're not going to be able to control him. That's the problem. He's going to do what he wants to do when he wants to do. It's like,
but that's what a coach does.
That's what a coach does.
Yeah.
But, like, I tell people all the time, I say, like, everybody saying that, like, whoever comes in here, they're going to force Jason Witten on his staff. They're basically trying to appoint Jason Witten as the head coach in waiting.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're trying to do, you're going to have to hire a coach that nobody interviewed that's cheap that you can control.
That's facts. You think Jason Witten would come in as a tight ends coach?
If they bring him in, they're gonna bring him as probably tight end coach and associate head coach, guaranteed.
Yeah, they're coaching waiting.
Coaching waiting. Yeah, it's just that's straight nepotism.
And I read that this morning. I said, "Oh man, here we go. Already aligning a coaching staff for a coach that isn't even here yet."
But it's like, and this is where that's what I said. This is where the stubbornness comes in. I'm like, you did that with Wade Phillips when you brought in Jason Garrett before you even hired Wade Phillips.
Right. And
Jason Garrett's your coaching waiting. You did the same thing with Mike McCarthy when you forced Kellen Moore down his throat.
Yeah.
And I said at the end of the day, to me, the main reason why McCarthy eventually got Kellen Moore the hell up out of here, because he wasn't dumb. Because that's the head coach in waiting. If I don't get rid of him, the first instance I have a struggle, they're gonna get me up out of here real quick.
And it still didn't work out anyway, though. You know what I'm saying? And I heard it more didn't work out on McCarthy's end. He just was like, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah.
They didn't paint it as Jerry. They painted it as McCarthy was like, you know what, I'm good.
And the other thing I read from numerous sources, from Clarence Hill, from Mike Fisher, they were all saying like Jerry and Stephen didn't expect Mike McCarthy to leave. That caught them way off guard.
I bet they figured, hey, he'll just be grateful to be here. I'm telling you right now, McCarthy got some interest, and that's your ego thinking that right there, though. I bet.
Yeah, like, no, McCarthy. The only reason McCarthy hasn't done an interview with the Saints yet because they got all that snow, and his interview got pushed back because they couldn't fly in it. Because I don't know if you saw it, they got like 5-6 inches of snow there the other day.
Right.
So that's the only reason. But no, Mike McCarthy's not dumb. He's like, I want $8 million a year. Y'all can't even give me that. He said, I can go. If I get the job in Chicago, New Orleans, they're going to give me $8 million a year.
Like, but you know what's funny? I think that when coaches leave here, it's more of, I can't look at that coach and say he's not a good coach because I understand what being a Cowboys coach comes along with. That bodes well for Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn. Mm-hmm. If you look at that, they've had success when they left here. So people probably look at McCarthy like, well, damn, look at DQ and look at Kellen Moore after they left.
Let Mike McCarthy go to, say, like the Saints, and they start winning immediately. Mm-hmm. That's gonna make it look even worse for Jerry.
Yeah, it is.
Because at that point, it's gonna be like, okay, Dan Quinn makes the NFC title game. Kellen Moore's winning games in Philly. If Mike McCarthy goes somewhere else and starts winning immediately, that's when even the stubborn Cowboys fan is like, well, maybe McCarthy aren't the problem. Maybe Dak isn't the problem.
McCarthy did go to 12-5, 3 back-to-back seasons. Yeah. Let's be honest. Who's going to complain about going 12-5, 3 consecutive seasons? You know what I'm saying? Everything is Dak's fault. No. And I ran into a young guy at a brunch spot, and we was talking, and he was like, "Man, what's crazy is how everybody thinks it's on Dak. This is a young dude. He's like 19. He's like, man, that's Jones all day." He was like, "I'm trying to tell you, I'm not even a Cowboys fan, and I see that." He was like, "Do y'all not remember Dak was top 3, 4 every category the year before? Yeah. What was the problem then?" He was like, "Man, y'all's problem is I was blown away. Like, this is a young guy, you know what I'm saying? And you still got people that want to put it on Dak. You know what I'm saying? Or put it on the head coach."
And I said, perfect example. Dan Snyder, when he was in Washington was a crap franchise for so long. They were just like us. And that's what, like, they'll have a good year here and there, make the playoffs here and there, but they never had a deep playoff run. They never had major success. Right. Dan Snyder sells the team, get new ownership group in there, and within their first year, they're in an NFC title game.
I'll tell you something. When you brought in Magic Johnson, I knew it was real.
Yeah.
Because when you bring in good leadership, when you bring in visionaries, leadership plays a part and it trickles down. Did any of us see Washington going to the NFC Championship game? I didn't.
No.
But right now, as a Cowboys fan, not gonna lie to you, I would love to see Daniels go to the Super Bowl.
I tell you this: if Washington makes the Super Bowl and we hire Brian Schottenheimer, this fan base is gonna riot.
All right.
They're gonna riot.
He's gonna feel in his pockets.
And he's gonna feel,
he's gonna feel it this season.
And I guarantee you, what's gonna happen now is those season ticket renewals, they're gonna drop significantly.
And that's the part I don't get. It's like, you have to understand. But Jerry is trying to make that splash higher, that going. And Steven is the one that's going to drag it down, because it's like, people that drop out that kind of money say, what's the reason that I would re-up? Give me a reason why I would re-up my season tickets.
Yeah.
Give me the reason why I would re-up for my suites. Give me a reason. You have to sell. Do you think Kansas City has this problem?
No.
At all. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to make the moves, or whatever they got to do. Look at Chicago. Now there's hope. Yeah, you brought in Ben Johnson. Let's couple that with whatever moves we make in the offseason, and I bet you those season tickets go up. Because now you got the most sought-after head coach in football. You wasted no time. Was it the day after they lost?
If you were to hire Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn, and then you make some moves in free agency, like not even go crazy, but something like one or two guys where you're actually spending some legit money at a position of need, and now you go to this. I'm like, I tell people last year, I said, when's the last time you saw the Cowboys training camp empty? Like, nobody was there. Nobody was there last year. Yeah. Nobody was there. I was at the Thanksgiving game. Nobody was there.
Tickets was cheap.
My ticket, I was second row behind the corner of the end zone, for $200. Thanksgiving.
On thing.
Thanksgiving.
Man, those tickets should have been through the roof.
$200. Standing room only was $19.
Oh damn.
Hand on the Bible, like second, third row, 50-yard line was like $500.
And that's on a holiday.
That's on Thanksgiving.
That's gas money in standing room.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? That speaks volumes of the fan base. I'm glad that's happening. It's only going to get worse.
I think it's going to get worse because if you do hire Brian Schottenheimer and you bring in Jason Witten, they're going to try to sell it. And I said, you're going to try to sell something, and this fan base ain't going to buy that bullshit.
Well, okay, so if you're Jerry, what is your selling point on Schottenheimer?
There's no selling point.
Exactly.
There is no selling point.
At all.
I can try to spin whatever I want, but like even the media is like, this is so uninspiring. Like, as an owner, I'm not saying that the fans don't run your team. You still have to do what's best for your team. But from some standpoint, like if I'm the owner, I'm like, we at least got to make a hire that we can trust, that we can legitimately actually sell to this fan base. Because at the end of the day, the fan base, from merchandise sales, ticket sales, they put a lot of money in our pockets. So if we give them an uninspiring hiring, don't do anything in free agency, and do the same thing, and then go into next year, we're going to run into another training camp where nobody's going to show up. Season ticket renewals are going to drop. Ticket sales are going to drop. Ticket prices are going to drop. Like, we're going to negatively affect our pockets.
And what's the average length of a contract for a coach?
About 4 years.
So now you're looking at the Schottenheimer era for the next 4 years.
We looked at Justin Garrett era for 10.
That was crazy.
And he didn't even make. He never had a point in his 10 years in Dallas where he made the playoffs back-to-back years.
And what's crazy is you can honestly say that McCarthy had a more successful tenure than Garrett.
He did.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was the first time in over 30 years that the Cowboys won 12-plus games 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
Like that, no.
And that's the thing, though. Now you got this massive drop-off. It's supposed to be from McCarthy to at least an upgrade or some kind of, you know what I'm saying, though? I don't see the selling point.
And then if you don't bring in Zimmer, that means your defensive players got to learn a whole new scheme again for the third year in a row.
Because remember, there were writings on the wall that Zimmer and McCarthy were attached at the hip, hired or fired. If you do that, you blow that up. And you said, you know why this defense is playing lights out now? He said, because that's how long it took for them to understand the system.
To get it.
You have to actually play in game to get the system. If you get rid of Zim, like you said, now it's a reset on that.
Like, you got to realize, for someone like Michael Parsons, if Zim doesn't come back, Mike is like, this is going to be the third defensive scheme that I have to learn in 3 years.
And the fans don't see that. They just see that, oh man, he sucks. And no, man, he has to. Even with Dak, whoever they're bringing in now, Dak has to relearn that.
I think that's another reason why Steve Jones is doing it, because if you bring in Schottenheimer,
keep it like
it's the same scheme.
Okay,
it's the same system. Same verbiage.
I got you. Keep that same, because he was the OC. That's right.
Yeah, but for your defense, it's like, damn. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And for the people who aren't football players, learning an entire new NFL scheme, that shit is not easy.
It takes the duration of the season.
It's not easy. It takes time learning
verbiage,
learning new verbiage, tendencies. Bro,
where to be at.
I don't. And if y'all have not seen an NFL playbook, offense or defense, it's like a phone book. That thing is thick.
That's why I like Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks really showed you. And I remember when those rooks was coming in, and they would jump on the bed and be like, I think the toughest position to me is always quarterback, because now you're the leader, you're the engine, you make everything tick. You're the point guard, so you of all people have to know where it has to be.
You have to know. It's so much on the quarterback's plate. You have to know what everybody's job is, every call, every adjustment, every audible. Okay, from like just one single play that has 3 or 4 receivers on it. It's like, okay, well, if they're in cover 2, I got to make this read. But if they're in cover 4, I got to make this read. But cover 2 and cover 4 look very similar in pre-snap. Or they're in cover 1, maybe I got to make the check call to the run play. It's like so much on there before you hype the ball. It's all before you even hype the ball.
That's why I say, man, for the numbers Dak was putting up, y'all crazy.
You know my God, bro.
This dude had a stellar season and it still wasn't good enough.
Yes, you know but it's the same thing when people say, like, get rid of Dak, he can't win a playoff game, he's no good, I said, y'all were saying the same thing about Romo.
Yeah.
I said, so why is it we've had 2 different coaching regimes, 2 different quarterbacks, two different receivers and Dez Bryant and CeeDee Lamb, we were having the same results.
Same
I said,
results.
I said, there's only one common
What's the
denominator.
common denominator? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's only one common denominator.
Same results.
Yeah, the problem is now, I think, truthfully, I think we're at the stage where if the Joneses aren't careful, they're legitimately going to seriously start losing this fan base. Because I'm listening to the LS with Jeff Kavanaugh and Clarence Hill and Jesse Holly, former Cowboys player. Jesse Holly said on his show yesterday, he was like, the Cowboys fans that we're interacting with online, on X, and all these other platforms, said, dude, this is not a happy fan base.
No.
This fan base is not. And Clarence Hill said the same thing. He said, I'm interacting with Cowboys fans every day. I have not seen a positive Cowboy, anything from positive from the Cowboys fan base in months. He said they hired Brian Schottenheimer, this fan base, they're probably gonna start screaming, sell the team.
I don't disagree. There's nothing to look forward to.
No. And then the last thing I'm gonna say on this is, if they hire Schottenheimer, it better fucking work out. It better work out.
I mean, bro.
It better work out. Because I'm telling you right now, if you do this, if you hire Schottenheimer, again, bring in Jason Witten, and you do the same approach you did last year, and you have another crap year, this fan base is done. Yeah, they are done. 2027. And I'm telling you right now, you can try to say like, well, we're going to promote Jason Witten. They're not going to buy that. They're not going to buy that.
Because what has Jason Witten done in the pros? What he's done in college? He hasn't even. He
coached private, not even like public schools, private school for 2 years.
Yeah. So there's no incentive there. So I think Dion would be your saving grace as far as getting the fans excited.
To me, either Dion or Robert Saleh. Because Robert Saleh, you can easily sell me on that, because he's a Kyle Shanahan guy. He's a defensive coordinator, but he's a Kyle Shanahan guy. And everybody kept saying it was Mike McVay, who's Sean McVay's brother. He came up under Kyle Shanahan. He came up under his brother too, and everything else. They were saying like, if you brought in Robert Saleh, his offensive coordinator is Mike McVay. It's not Mike McVay. It was Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur's brother. He said if he brings in Mike LaFleur,
that's all Shanahan blood.
He said you bringing in a Shanahan scheme. You're going to bring in an up-to-date offense. He's a Shanahan guy. Yeah. So they said that's what Robert Saleh knows. They said people were saying the problem with having Robert Saleh in New York with the Jets was he brought in Mike LaFleur as his offensive coordinator, but ownership forced Nathaniel Hackett down his throat.
Because that's whose guy?
Because that's
Aaron
Rodgers' guy.
Yeah.
So they forced Nathaniel Hackett down his throat. Mm-hmm. So he had to push LaFleur to like a position coach and a social offensive coordinator. And Nathaniel Hackett had to run the show, and the offense went to dog shit.
And I think that's why the Aaron Rodgers debacle is bigger than what people know.
Yeah.
Because they're like, not only, and they don't say this publicly, of course, not only did we vouch for you, we vouched for your guy.
Yeah.
And y'all both bombed.
Bombed.
So do we want that back? You know what I'm saying? Or do we keep Rodgers and bring in, it's true.
But to me, that's also a situation where as an owner, I would never do that. Because if I'm an owner doing that, I'm undermining my head coach. Even when I brought in Aaron Rodgers said, hey, if I come here, I need Nathaniel Hackett this and that. And then I said, I can't bring you here.
But you know what though, John? You have to look at it from this owner's from his side. Franchise has been asked for how many years?
Yeah.
And he was basing all of that off of what Rodgers did in Green Bay. Not looking at the injuries, not looking at his age. He felt that was going to come right on over. And, you see what I'm saying? No?
Yeah.
So as an owner, plus he had to give what? The fan base something to get excited for.
Yeah.
And guess what? It worked. Every game sold out.
For about 3 plays.
Hey, but them season tickets were already done.
Oh, yeah.
Those suites were already sold. And I remember on that third play, and when I looked into the crowd, that the look told the story of that franchise. I said, well, there's your season.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you get a fresh Aaron Rodgers, and it's just like, wow, he's human.
And I had an interesting conversation with a guy at work about this. He was telling me, like, well, it's Jerry and Steven's team. They can do whatever they want to do. They don't owe the fans anything.
They don't owe the fans.
I said I disagree with one small step when we said they don't owe the fans anything. I said they owe the fans to at least do everything in their power to try to put the best product on the field.
Yeah.
We as a fan base understand we're not going to win a Super Bowl every year. There's going to be a bad year here and there. We understand that. But I said when a fan base knows that their ownership group is at least trying to put the best product on the field, they're going to keep selling out the stadium. Nice. They're going to keep renewing season ticket sales. But when you operate like this, where you're not spending any money in free agency, you're hiring lame puppet coaches, you're doing this, you're doing that. This fan base is looking at you like you're not even trying. Yeah. Like you're not even trying.
Because you can sell people on hope. You can sell people on potential. When they see that there's none of that there's nothing to sell them on.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, Chicago brought in number 1 pick. Okay, they felt that they bought in. Now they brought in Ben Johnson. See, it's steadily doing this though. Yeah. It's steadily going up because okay, now there's hope. But if you don't, I don't know if Chicago falls for the McCarthy hire. I don't think they. Well, you know, remember that was the story that they were saying about. Think about that. If they hired McCarthy, I think that would have been going backwards.
But I think I think the Saints hired McCarthy. You can sell the Saints on McCarthy.
Can you?
They're like, dude, he went 12-5 3 years in a row in Dallas. He won in Green Bay.
I mean, I see your point, but they hate Dallas so much that everything that hate goes with the quarterback, the hate goes with the coach.
You got to realize they went 2-0 last year. They went down the drain after that.
They smoked us. Yeah. And I remember you saying, that's a Shanahan guy. And I was like, I see. And that was it.
Yeah, I think their problem is they just don't have enough talent. Mm-hmm. That's really what it is.
The scheme is
there. They had a ton of injuries. They just don't have enough talent.
They smoked us, man. I was like, okay, Saints. I'm predicting the Saints down there in the NFC Championship. And then injuries and this, that, and the third. So
yeah, speaking of injuries, man.
Oh, here we go.
Derek Lively out 2 to 3 months, man. These injury situation, there's a deeper story behind this. I just found this. I didn't even know this even went down.
Okay.
Casey Smith, who was the long-term Dallas Mavericks head trainer for over 2 years.
Who was revered the greatest in the game for a long time.
He had, last year, there was some beef between him and the Mavericks front office for some reason. To where they pulled him off the bench. He wasn't even on the bench anymore in the second half of the season.
Whoa.
And he wasn't even traveling with the team.
Whoa.
He left Dallas and went to New York.
He went with Brunson.
Yeah. New York Knicks have been the healthiest team in the league this year. Their starting 5 has played the most minutes in either of the starting 5 in the league. Dallas is ravaged by injuries. Ravaged. Yeah. I don't think it's a coincidence that the best trainer in the NBA leaves your team and then your team gets destroyed by injuries.
Yeah.
That's a bad coincidence. That cannot be a coincidence.
Because I remember other players that used to play for Dallas was like, man, that boy Casey Smith they would brag on him. They'd be like, hey man, that boy, I mean, who brags on that?
And he's been with Dallas for over 20 years.
I'm like, bro, what happened that was so bad that it was an inevitable split?
I don't know if it's true or not. Okay. There was a rumor that I saw one person say, again, take this as rumor only, light grain of salt. This could be total false. I saw one guy say a rumor said that he found something, I guess, something serious in Luka's knee or leg, and basically was telling the front office like Luka needs to sit out a year. And the front office was like, absolutely not.
Say no more. I know that's one.
And that's what caused the rift. And now Luka's having leg injuries, calf injuries, knee issues. And people are saying like, and the one person saying like, that's kind of what I heard through the grapevine was he was pushing like Luka needs to rehab and sit this year out. And the front office was like, absolutely not.
Was this before Kyrie?
No, this is last year.
No, I can't see them sign off on that because there goes your season ticket holders for that year. There goes your sales.
You made the finals last year.
But even still though. But at the end of the day, now look.
Yeah.
If you look at that year's already sat out. He's back now. You know what I'm saying? Them making the finals made that much harder.
Because you got to realize he had the knee injury last year. The start of the season, he started training camp. He missed training camp and all the preseason because he had a leg injury. Christmas Day, he has another leg injury. And that's when I saw that. I'm saying, that actually might be true. Where Casey Smith was like, hey, he has a serious knee or leg problem.
Because he can't put together a stretch
yeah.
of 3 months straight without something. It's always, and if it's not his leg, it's his ankle, it's this. It's always something, bro.
Yeah, it's always like a leg. I'm just like, that might be. I don't know. I said that might
because they showed a clip last week of him shooting in the gym, no lift, straight flat. I'm talking about he has no. I mean, of course he's healing, but you know how that goes, John.
Yeah,
you know how the game goes with those kind of injuries when you're of that magnitude.
That same person said, "This is why Kawhi left San Antonio." Because Kawhi had that knee problem, and he kept telling the staff like, "No, my knee is not right. And it's not right." And San Antonio kept saying, "No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine." What?
Look how that has domino effect over to LA. LA's handling it right, but imagine if the Spurs handled that right in the first place. And that's why a lot of players say, everybody just looks at the money aspect and the fame. They said, man, but the politics and the BS you have to go through with injuries, like you have a broke neck, they're trying to rush you back. You see what I'm saying?
And in that situation, I said that might be true because if that happened, because they're winning games, they made the finals last year, but now it's like if that show's like at what cost?
Because think about it, John. Remember last year, didn't we hit like a 13, 14 game win streak?
Yeah.
Remember? I mean, blazing, bro. And then okay, you start to see little injuries here and there, but we were still okay. Remember, we went 4-1 with Luka out, keeping everything rolling, this, that, and third. And then Kyrie with the shoulder. And then, of course, Lively with his little things. And then you're starting to see even Klay Thompson last night. I'm like,
yeah, Klay Thompson has an ankle injury.
But you know what's crazy, though? I noticed a few nights ago when we played OKC, Shea was out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I told my wife, I said, yeah, he got a wrist injury. You know what she said? Legit wrist injury about 3 to 6 weeks. Next game he played.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you?
Yeah.
There's that. What is that the new rest?
No.
Is that the new rest?
Again, no. Listen to Gilbert again. Gilbert Arenas show. Gilbert, Kenyon Martin, Brandon, all of them talking about like, oh no, dude, we've played a lot of games. We should have been playing like they just shoot us over Toradol and throw us back out there.
Okay. Because she was like, a legit wrist sprain can be 3 to 6 weeks. Legit.
Yeah. Kenyon Martin said like
the next game, OKC. I said, babe, look, he's playing. And she was like, that's something else then.
Kenyon Martin said numerous times. He said when I was in Denver, I had serious knee problems. And he was saying like my knee would bother me to the point where like I couldn't even extend my leg all the way. And he was saying like I would go to the trainer, they just shoot me with Toradol, and he said like 10 minutes later, like, oh my God, I can move my knee. And then he said, when that Toradol wears off, your knee's killing you. And he even said like I even struggled using the bathroom on that stuff.
You can't just keep putting that Band-Aid over that type of thing, man. And now I'm looking just slipping.
Now here's the other problem that all these injuries causing. It's forcing Jason Kidd to actually have to coach. He can't coach. Jason Kidd is terrible. Yeah. He's terrible. It's from an offensive X's and O's standpoint. Being inept is an understatement.
Right.
He's truly that bad. And all the casual fans keep saying all the time, well, it's the injury. I said, bro, it's not the injuries, bro. Jason Kidd is really that bad of a coach. Like, he's really that bad.
Because he's usually had the talent to cover up his shortcomings.
I like that the talent masks so many of his flaws as a coach. Do
you think that Klay Thompson knew this before he got here?
Oh, he knew.
But he saw what he saw with the
Kyrie sold him on here.
I mean, but damn, we were in the championship last year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And one thing about winning a championship, to me, it's about health and luck. I'm sorry. It is. To be lucky and to be healthy. Is it too soon to label Lively as injury prone?
No, because he's not even 21
Okay,
yet.
that's what I thought, and I was like, nah, he's still.
Now we're here like 4 years later when he's like 24, 25 and still having the same
Yeah.
issues. Then you can make that
And
assertion.
his absence really lets me know how much we miss him, bro.
Oh,
I
100%.
mean, now that kid that's the kid that you said, hey man, there's this one kid. And I'm like, John knows the future or something. You said this kid lively. And I remember you saying if we can get lively and look and me not knowing that Tyson Chandler was really working with him, you see.
But even when I watch Lively now, the fact that Lively is not shooting 12 to 15-foot mid range shots in the high post, the fact that he's not used as a stretch five in certain situations to possibly even shoot threes, this and that, I'm like, this is fucking coaching malpractice. Like you're holding. I'm like, especially with Luka and Kyrie and them out,
Yeah.
and all these injuries. I said you have to expand his game to be more aggressive to score now,
Yeah.
and you're still holding him back.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my god, because I watched. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm like when Derek Lively gets the ball in the high post, you see like they're running DHO. So you watch the Mavericks game with Derek Lively, he gets the ball like at the free throw line,
Yeah.
and you see guys running around him, and he's turning around, holding up everything else. I tell people, I said, okay, he's running a high post. Okay, that's kind of a Princeton offense principle. Okay, some split action things like that. But I said, Lively, he's having to make reads. I said, okay, not a lot of big men can do that, and he's doing this at 20 years old, and he's making the right read like 90% of the time. So, but I'm like, the thing would open up even more is you have that, but now you're letting him, if that guy sags off, okay, I'm just gonna pull that 12-foot jump shot and knock it down. If he does that, now you put this defender at a real difficult position now. I'm just like, I'm like, he can shoot the 12 to 15-foot mid-range shot. Jason Kidd just won't let him do it.
Hey, I've read stories in practice. He knocks threes now.
He's this videos of him in practice knocking down shots.
Knocking the threes down.
And reporters keep asking Jason Kidd, like, so when is Lively going to shoot threes? When and just Kidd said, it's coming. I'm like, it's not coming.
Okay. At least mid range, 12 to 14 footers. When are you gonna let them start doing that?
Yeah.
Because you just said something. Now I have a decision to make. Do I stay here or do I? You know what I'm saying? That's a liable threat because centers aren't traditional centers anymore.
No, traditional centers are done.
That's done. That's been gone. Most centers today can shoot the 13-footer. Cat. Embiid.
You even watch Lopez in Milwaukee, 7-footer. He's hitting threes.
Yeah, and I'm watching Lively, and it's like, don't stun his growth, man. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Because
especially now is the time to unleash all of that.
Yeah, I told you before. To me, Lively's next step is shooting the three, shooting the mid range, and then being able to bring the ball up the court to initiate offensive sets.
He can do it.
He
can. They do it in practice.
I know he can do it. Kid just won't let him get out of the shell here. And I understand if you're fully healthy, you still develop him. But when injuries start piling up like that, I'm like, he has to be more aggressive to score. I'm sorry. You've got to open up his game now. You have to open it up. Won't do it.
So where do we go from here as an organization as far as do we panic and
no, you don't panic because you got
do you look for a quick fix trade or
no, Exum should be back within the next, I say, month and a half. That's going to solve your special game.
Somebody did an evaluation from the day he got injured, from what they diagnosed him and gave his timeline. They're saying he should already be back.
Honestly, it was either something else or worse than they let on.
Okay.
Because he broke his wrist like the second week of training camp. So they said, oh, he should be back in like 3 to 4 months.
Wow.
We're almost in February.
Do the math.
He still ain't back yet.
Like, okay, 3 or 4 months.
I'm like, okay, if he broke his wrist in late August, early September, he should be back by mid-January.
Exactly.
We're almost in February, and Jason Kidd still said, oh, I don't have a timetable on next. I'm like, what?
Was there something?
The only thing I could think of is getting back in shooting and dribbling rhythm because he haven't been able to use that wrist for a while. That's the only. Well, the conditioning part shouldn't be a problem because with the wrist you can still run.
Yeah.
So conditioning shouldn't be a problem. It's building the strength back in the wrist and dribbling because when you broke your wrist, it takes a while to heal. So I mean, he hasn't been able to dribble and shoot a ball for probably 2-3 months.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
But from a conditioning standpoint, he still should be fine. But
he should be back. what I was reading is like he should have been back by now.
Yeah.
If he's not back by mid-February, something's wrong. It was something
different. And the report that came out late last night was they said that Luke was telling people, I plan on being back by All-Star break.
That's about February.
By mid-February.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said that sounds about right. But at the same time, though, I'm like, that calf string, I said that calf better be 100%. It has to be 100%.
If he resets him again,
yeah, I'm saying? Because people don't understand calf strain. I said he strained the calf. I said you got to realize. I said the calf strains, you have to make sure it's fully healed. I said if you play on a calf strain, that strain can turn to a muscle tear. If you tear that muscle, bye bye. He's out 46 months. So that's surgery now 46 months.
My whole thing is, if it ensured that he was 100% and they said he'll be back in March, I'd be like, cool.
Yeah.
Because at this point, there's nothing you can do about it. You know what I'm saying? Watched the game last night, lost by a point, still fighting, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, I just want us to be competitive, and it just keeps ringing in my head that you say, man, this man can't coach. This man can't coach. So you're not even giving them a legit shot.
Like when they lost to the Hornets, that was despicable. Because, like, when the first time they lost to New Orleans in New Orleans.
We know what that was, though.
When they lost that game, I'll never forget this. I'm sitting on my couch. Jason Kidd calls a timeout. The ATO he draws up, the timeout play he draws up, and I watched it. I'm like, I started laughing. I literally started laughing to myself. I said, Jason Kidd, you drove a 1-4 flat ISO for Klay Thompson? He's not even an ISO player.
Nope.
I was like, I started laughing. I said, this is comical how bad this is. I'm like, you can't be serious. You drop a 1-4 flat ISO for Klay Thompson? I said, oh my God. And then I watched the game against the Charlotte Hornets where they lost to Charlotte. Call a timeout. Okay. They come out of the timeout. Kyrie struggling trying to get open on the final play. And Spencer Dinwiddie is pounding, dribbling the ball. And then, it takes like 18 seconds for Kyrie to finally get the ball. And I'm like, that took way too long to initiate that set on a 24-second shot clock. And I said, the problem is the reason why Dinwiddie is dribbling the ball like that is because there's no secondary option on the weak side on that play. And I said, so Jason Kidd clearly just drove only a primary option ATO out of a timeout. I said, that's coaching malpractice. I said, even when I was in high school and my coach drawing up an ATO out of a timeout, and I'm the point guard, he said, okay, Jonathan, he's going to come off the screen. This is the primary option. If it's not there, we're going to have a backside screen on the weak side. That's your secondary option. Yeah. Just in case that primary. You always have secondary options on ATOs if that primary option is not there.
So why was Kyrie in the game?
Yeah, he was in the game. They were double. He was getting so much attention. He was struggling for him to get open on the off ball. Yeah. And it took like 15, 16, 17 seconds for him to finally get the ball, but there's 24 seconds in the shot clock. So when he gets the ball, it's like 6 or 7 seconds left. Now he has to force up a bad shot. Yeah. So, and I'm like...
And I'm noticing that when Luka orders a sniff of injury, I noticed Dinwiddie, he gets to the top of the key, he dribbles out to about 5, 6 seconds left, and then you're going to have either the pass for the bad three-point shot, or he's going to take a bad three-point shot. We don't get the rebound. I'm up there calling
it. I forgot who they were playing. Luka was in the game. We were down by 3 with like 1.5 seconds left, and we're coming out of a timeout. And I'm watching it with my older brother, and he said, Jay, what would you do in this situation? I said, whatever you do, you got to give Luka or Kyrie the ball going towards the basket. Their momentum has to carry them to the basket so they get an easier shot. He drops a split action screen, having Luka going away from the basket, and they has to catch, turn around, throw up a prayer from like 3/4, like almost half court. And I'm like, I'm just like, my jaw dropped. I'm like, kid can't be this bad.
I mean, because think about it, if you're going towards the goal, your percentage is better. Plus, you possibly can draw a foul and go to free throw line.
Yeah, you know, you're in that situation. Whatever you do, you have to be rolling towards the basket. You can't catch the ball going away from the basket. Right. You can't. You cannot in that situation. I've just seen Kidd have so many blunders, and then this offensive scheme, it's just all ISO sets, no movement, no off-ball action. It's very stagnant, very easy to defend. I'm just like, I'm sorry. I tell people all the time, I'm like, dude, don't let the NBA Finals run last year fool you. Jason Kidd is a horrific coach. He's terrible.
And that was what was his name? Greg. What's his name? That called him out.
Oh yeah, Greg Anthony
Called him out.
Yeah, Greg Anthony was like, yeah, there's no motion, no movement in this offense, make it very easy to guard. Then I'm like, bro, I'm like, when I said, I'm like, I've been saying this about Kidd's offense for 2 years. Like, no, Jason Kidd is that bad.
And making the finals last year doesn't make it any better.
No,
it buys you so much more time. You see what I'm saying? But I think that's more of the talent aspect of that team.
If Jason Kidd is going to be your head coach, if I'm Nico Harrison, I know head coaches hire their own staff,
get somebody in there,
but I'm looking at Jason Kidd and say, you're leaving me no choice. If you don't fix this soon, I'm hiring you assistant coaches who are very good in X's and O's to make up for your flaws. Don't put me in this position to do that.
Take a look at Orlando. Down 2 major stars.
Oh, they were down 3?
And still busting ass.
3. They were down 3 of their 5 starters.
And where did that assistant come from?
Oh, yeah, Jamal Moses from Dallas. He's a Rick Carlisle guy.
That's who a lot of people wanted as the next head coach.
Yes, he's a Rick Carlisle guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one thing about Rick Carlisle is Carlisle the best in terms of like player management? Probably not. Player relations? No, not really. But when it comes to X's and O's, he knows his shit.
And you know how you know he knows the game? Because when you see his offspring in that tree and they're doing what they do and they learn from him, it's like with Shanahan, there's your proof in the pudding.
Yeah, Jamal Mosley is a great coach in Orlando right now.
Because Reed's older brother, man, if we could get Jamal Mosley, I was like, who is that? And he was like, remember that?
That was Rick Carlisle's right-hand man.
That boy's nice.
Yeah, that was Rick Carlisle's right-hand man.
And you see what he's doing in Orlando.
He's doing in Orlando. Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner were both out. That's their top 2 players. They're missing 3 of their 5 starters. They were still winning games.
And I'm talking about beating top-tier teams.
Yes. And you see Houston playing right now. And I told people, I said when Rick Carlisle got fired, I said, I want either Nick Nurse or Ime Udoka. Ime Udoka is killing it in Houston.
I don't care. Nobody says. He left that blueprint in Boston. Y'all fired him. Okay. Then he took over. He goes to Houston. He does it again. Was it first year or second year?
Last year they kind of struggled. Last year they got better.
But you saw it.
You saw the growth.
You saw the growth. And I said, Houston's about to be a problem.
Houston is a problem right now.
And who they beat last night? Cleveland.
Jalen Green if Jalen Green isn't an all-star this year the way Ime Udoka hasn't playing, it's a crime.
Because man, when him and John Morant smiled, it was like gave him his props. Like he's a problem. He's a problem. That's a nice squad, man.
And I'm looking at everybody. I'm like, that's who I wanted in Dallas. I wanted Ime Udoka. I said, give me Ime Udoka or Nick Nurse.
I think Jason Kidd was the Deion Sanders to the Cowboys. The name, former player, won a ring. Think about that.
I think that was a Luka Doncic guy because him and Luka have a good relationship. So I think that's really what it was.
You always say that.
Because Rick Carlisle and Luka did not get along. And from that standpoint, even like Rick Carlisle, like I said, in terms of player relationship, he's not the best. He got into it with Jason Kidd when Jason Kidd was playing here. The year they won the title. He got into with Rondo. He got into a number of players. I say he's not the best in terms of player relationships. But I say he produces results. So that's what it is. I say him and Luka, I said, if it came down to it as a general manager, you have to make a decision. I'm like, yeah, I got to move on from Carlisle because I can't move on from Luka, who's a top 3 player in the NBA.
Keep him and then Luka leaves.
Yeah.
Okay, well, because then it's going to look like, so you made your decision? Okay.
Now, I wouldn't have had a problem if Rick Carlisle moved on, and I'm like, I'm just going to promote Jamal Mosley. Yeah, have the same system, but Jamal Mosley is probably a little bit better at player relationships.
Of course.
Yeah.
Young black man, what you call it? Yeah, I think that Luka would have signed up on that.
And I've read that Jamal Mosley is like loved by Luka and other players in that building before he left. So but he's doing an amazing job in Orlando. I would love Jamal Mosley to be here, but Jason Kidd, he's a problem.
Do you see us?
We're the 9th seed right now.
Damn, we dropped the 9th?
We've lost 3 of our last.
We were 7th.
No.
I know we were 7th last night. Cowboys closing in on head coach hire. Dallas expected to make OC Brian Schottenheimer the new head coach.
Not surprised by that at all.
That's crazy right
there. Told you.
That's crazy.
Boy, this fan base is going to riot.
Right now we're 8th seed.
AC, yeah.
Yeah, we're 21, 23, and 21 right there with the Timberwolves. Do you think we get healthy enough to keep above, our head above water, or are we a playing team? Or shit, are we outside the playing? Because now you got
I
locked
think
down
we're
for two,
gonna.
three
I
months.
think we're gonna be a playing team because I think there's gonna be too much work. Depends where I have to see where we are when Luka gets back. When Luka gets back, and if Luka and X, because I think Luka and X are going to come back roughly around the same time. Luka probably back around All Star break, maybe like a little bit before, like right after. And I think Exum will probably be back like at the end of February, maybe early March.
Mm.
So I have to see where we are when at least Luka gets back. Because when Luka went out, Kyrie went out, and everything else, everybody's saying the panic. But I said, just play 500 basketball.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you play,
You
I
can
said,
stay afloat.
and I said, this, I said, all you have to do is just stay afloat. So I said, if Luka and Kyrie are going to be out for like total for combined like 11, 12 games, you're going to say, hey, just win 5, 6 of them.
I'm sorry. That Hornets, was it the Hornets game? Pelicans game hurt, man. I'm sorry. Unnecessary, bro.
That was a goaltending.
With the missed goaltending call. Now we couldn't challenge because we didn't have any more timeouts left. Or what was that about?
You couldn't no, you couldn't challenge it because I forgot some rule, but that particular play you couldn't challenge.
See, those little games right there, though, and I've seen one game losses make a world of a difference.
But the referee, I mean,
but there was all night though.
But the NBA to me does have a refereeing problem. To me, is the referees overall to me they're just not consistently good. They're just not. Because even last night, watching the game where it was the foul on PJ Washington when PJ Washington fell down, and you saw Mike Conley like literally like grab his jersey and like pull him down, and it didn't call it, and Jason Kidd challenged it, and then looked at the replay and said there's no foul. Even Jay Billis, who was calling the game, even Jay Billis, who was calling the game during the game, even said that explanation makes no sense. How is that not a foul?
What they said the explanation was, do you remember?
It said I can't remember the exact explanation, but like Jay Billis, the announcer, was like, that explanation makes no sense. Like, I still don't understand how is that not a foul. And he's like, how can you watch that on replay and still determine that's not a foul? He said, everybody, like, I saw it. It's a foul. It's a blatant foul. What's going on here? So, like, yeah, the NBA has a refereeing problem. To me, it has a big refereeing problem, and it's not just the game. The Mavericks. I'm watching other games from other teams. I'm just like, I'm seeing it.
It's like consistent.
And Oklahoma City fans can kiss my ass. I don't care. I watched them play Cleveland. I watched them play us. I watched them play Milwaukee. I watched them play so many other games. I keep saying it. They're officiated so much differently than everybody else.
It's different. It's way different, man.
I'm not. They're like, oh, you're. I said no. Nah. This is everybody else. I said the way they let them play so much more physical than everybody else.
Yeah. That lets you know what's going on.
Yeah, it has to let you know what's going on.
Is it not what we see with the Chiefs? Is it not?
Oh yeah, they're officiated different than everybody else.
I've seen so many YouTube videos since that Chiefs last win, and when you go in the comments, bro, I'm talking about when they go back and show the plays, they're like, you see what's going on, don't you? Chiefs are still big business to the NFL. You know what I'm saying?
You know it's bad when the national media is drawing attention to these quote unquote calls on Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
Like Shannon Sharp was all like, he's running around. He's past the line of scrimmage, so he's a full-fledged runner at this point. Then he just drops while the defender's about to dive and tackling him, and they call him a flag.
I saw that.
And Shannon Sharp was like, he's a runner. He's past the line of scrimmage. At that point, he's no longer a quarterback. He's a runner at that point.
Yeah. It just lets me know it's going to be Kansas City and somebody. Philly or
It's going to be Kansas City and Philly.
Think so? You know what, though? I think it's dues time with rookie coach. Well, not rookie coach. I'm saying first-year coach, rookie player. And I try to explain to people, this is a business. Vegas is heavily involved. It's not going to be Washington.
No, Saquon is just running them into this.
I really think that if you really let them play the game without all the BS, I feel like Washington beats them again. Just off because, and a lot of the Philly fans agree, Kellen Moore is holding that offense back.
Oh, he is.
It's unbelievable that you have two top tier wide receivers like that, top tight ends in the Kellen Moore effect. It's crazy. It looks like a
Jalen Hurts
team.
is throwing the ball for like 120 yards.
It looks like a college team. I'm like, man, it's disgraceful. I said, you think that's what we want back?
No, they're just out talenting everybody.
That's it.
They have arguably the best receiver duo in the NFC. Saquon Barkley has been the best running back in the league.
You remove Saquon. Did they make the playoffs?
I think they make the playoffs, but they're not in this position.
They're not.
No. And the Eagles have arguably maybe the best offensive line in the league. So you put Saquon behind that, and the Giants just look worse and worse and worse about that Saquon decision. So bad. Did I ever see the clip of the meeting the GM had with the other? I got it on my phone. I sent it to you. Yeah, Joe Schoen, the GM, he's sitting down, and there's a guy sitting on the couch right next to him, and they're talking about like Joe Schoen, the Giants GM, said like, "Oh, is anybody going to pay Saquon that money, like $12+ million?" And his other guy on the staff was like, "Yeah, anybody who has that money that's willing to spend it." And he said, and then Joe Schoen was like, "Well, there's tons of running backs that are free agents, like Derrick Henry and Tony Pollard, this, and this." And then his other guy's like, "Well, are any of them actual difference makers though?" And then like it's just back and forth, and you can tell like his guy on his staff is trying to tell everybody in his room like Saquon Barkley is a difference making running back. Everybody sees it, but y'all. Like,
but that line was trash too.
It was so bad.
Between Saquon being injured and that line being trash, they thought he was expendable.
Yeah,
and it just goes to show you, with someone with that ability and talent, and you put him behind a decent line.
And then there's us too, with us about to hire Von Schottenheimer. I'm telling you this right now. If Ashton Gentry, the running back from Boise State, is there at 12, that's where they're taking.
Have to.
No, not even. To me, this running back draft class is way too deep. If Ted, the wide receiver from Arizona, is on the board, and you take Gentry over him, I'm walking out. I'm walking out.
They're gonna take that running back. You know this, right?
Because that's what they want to do.
That's what they do.
They want to. Yeah, this.
You already know how this works. Right?
Yeah,
that runner. If he's there,
they're taking him.
So what does that do for the obvious? That had his first 1,000-yard season.
And the other thing too, that I think they're going to, because it's easy marketing. Because if you take Gentry, he'll literally be a local guy. He's from Frisco.
It's a feel-good story. Now it kind of softens that Schottenheimer hire.
No,
not to me. Not to me. It doesn't.
No,
it doesn't to me.
No, because if you draft Gentry without doing anything in free agency, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. If he's the head coach, who's the coordinator? Do they bring in one?
They have to
try to save the day.
Well, it's Brian Schottenheimer's gonna be the play caller. He hasn't been a play caller since his time in Seattle and Russell Wilson. So it's
what coordinators out there that you think are pretty good that you know?
Kubiak from the offensive coordinator from New Orleans. Mike LaFleur. I don't know if he's going to leave the Rams. I doubt it. If we hire Robert Saleh, I truly believe he would have left the Rams to come here because Robert Saleh would have made him the playmaker. He's the play caller. Yeah. He's not the play caller.
He would have left for that promotion.
Yeah, because a lot of people who may not know, it's when you request to interview a coach on another staff that's under contract by NFL rules, it has to be a promotional interview.
Not the same position.
That same position. You can't. So you can, but the other team can deny it. So it's kind of like when Chicago requested permission from Jerry Jones to interview Mike McCarthy, and Jerry Jones said no.
Right.
It's because that's a sideways movement, and he's under contract, so Jerry has the right to say no to that. If Chicago would have called and said, "Hey, we want to interview Brian Schottenheimer," by NFL rules, Jerry has to let him interview because that's a promotional move.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna see how this plays out, bro.
Yeah.
The next few days should be interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
And then the next show should be really interesting.
Man, it might be, they're running this team into the ground right now. All right, man. But thank you guys for tuning in, man. Glad to be back, man. Catch you guys next time. Peace.
Oh my God.